Sivanu, Bahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom. All right, Eva, can I invite you up next to do Kiddush words? We're going to turn to page 123.
Thank you.
Sure.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu v'zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikroe kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta Yotanu kidashta Mekohamim
V'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Do I set?
You do.
Thank you.
All right. Way to go. Thanks so much. Thanks a lot, you two. We're going to turn now to page 124, and let's read together. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wear around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flowers within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Let's turn to page 130 for Psalm 95. Lechu neranena ladonai, nari aletzor yishenu, nekad mafunav betodah, bizmirot nari alo, nekad mafunav betodah, bizmirot nari alo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei aretz, v'toafot harim lo, asher beyado mechkerei aretz, v'toafot harim lo. Let's continue on to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת, והליתילה לך דודי לקראת כלה. פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לה לה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשה ותחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לה לה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קום מצאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לה לה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה, ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לה לה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לה לה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. Right, turning to 140 now for Psalm 92. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך רנן. בגודלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. All right, and finally we'll turn to 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Let us turn to 145 and we'll read together in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. Let's turn to page 146, and I'll invite you to rise with me if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Feel free to have a seat, and we'll continue. Let's read on 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'ravim. Right, page 150. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata, al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach v'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negeh yomam v'alala, v'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Let's rise again if you're able and comfortable doing so, as we turn to 152 for the opening of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please feel free to have a seat. And we're continuing on 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Let's turn to 157 and we'll read together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zelihanu ve'amru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alom yad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. Let's turn to 161 and we'll read together again. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Let's turn to page 162. Yismechu ve'malchutcha shomrei Shabbat ve'korei oneg hamekadeshei shvi kulam yisbehu ve'yitangu mituvecha Yismechu ve'malchutcha shomrei Shabbat ve'korei oneg hamekadeshei shvi kulam yisbehu ve'yitangu mituvecha. We're going to turn to page 164 now, and I'll invite you to rise again with me, if you're able and comfortable doing so tonight, for the opening of the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Agadol, Agibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. We'll continue on 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. All right, folks, feel free to have a seat. And let's read together on 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 174. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam be'ahava tekabel, utehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha, el karov lechol korav, panei el avadecha v'chonenu, shefoch ruchacha aleinu. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. All right, we're turning to 176 now for the Thanksgiving blessing, and as we do, after we've read the English up at the top, we'll have a chance for anyone who wants to raise their hand and share something they're feeling some gratitude about this week. So let's start up here in English, and then if you want to share something, Robin will come around with the microphone, and you can share with us. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Right, so if you'd like to share, just raise your hand. Or raise your hand on Zoom, and we'll call on you.
I was very pleased Tuesday night at the vigil that we held over Temple Israel, how the community came together to pray for the hostages who are still being held in Gaza. And it was an amazing, very short, but right to the point that it was a very beautiful event. And I was sorry that we still have to hold events like these, but very thankful how our community really comes together. People from every synagogue will be represented there.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, it's a shame that there's still a need for it, but it was good to see everyone from the community turn out. I'm sorry? Let me see, maybe. Let's see if that helps. Let's see if that helps.
Okay. I'm very grateful. to be able to have visited a friend last weekend for a 4-day weekend. We've known each other more than 50 years. And I also had a chance to spend time with her 2-year-old granddaughter, who I hear is still asking about me. So that kind of just warms my heart.
Sounds like you're popular.
My older son and his family are vacationing in Colorado. I got some pictures yesterday that he and a brother-in-law had climbed one of the trails to the top near Pikes Peak, not up to Pikes Peak, but near it. And I'm just really glad that they're having a good time out there.
That's awesome.
So I've been grateful to hear about the first 2 weeks of our son Sebastian's internship, which is an hour away from my mother's house in Massachusetts. So he's been staying with my mom. He's a brand new driver and a brand new car owner and has an hour commute. So that's been a little intense. But it's great because he's also getting to spend time with my mom and help her out some, which is great because she could really use it, and also spend time with his grandpa, who unfortunately has Alzheimer's and dementia, but can still remember him sometimes. And this is like a real unique opportunity to get to spend a little more time with him while that's still the case.
Thank you. Aviva posted in chat, I'm working on a blueberry farm, and today was perfect weather, and I got to sit outside all day and paint signs with different fruits and vegetables on them. A dream job if I could ever monetize it. That sounds like a lot of fun, Aviva. Thanks for sharing. I think we got to everybody who wanted to talk. Baruch atah Adonai atov shimcha ulchana el hodot. We'll continue on 179. Let's read together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. All right, we'll take a moment for our own prayers and reflections before joining back together with Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru amen. Right. We will turn forward now to page 371 for the Misha Berach for healing. This week we are praying for Raphael Alietti, David Ben Esther, Terry Bennett, Dan Binbutel, Thomas Brophy, Tom Brown, Louis Calcetera, Tegan Christofferson, Keith DePan, Llewellyn Egan, Joseph Feldman, Lauren Furman, Sandra Gutman, Robin Haas, David Hecht, Sheila Hickok, Sarit Katsu, Sharon Kirshheimer, Helen Lewis, Jim Mason, John McFeely, John Muller, Rowan Nicholino, Bruce Orden, Jeremy Orden, Manny Orden, Robin Orden, Ken Roberts, Jim Rosenstein, Sherry Schwartz, Shmuel Emmett Ruvain, Vivet Abraham Basara, Jennifer Stile, Rabbi Lance Sussman, Liz Sussman, Timothy Swindell, Dick Watanabe, Rhonda Waxman, Elena Witter, Phyllis Young, Eugenia Zaroli, and Jaeger Zopp. Would anyone like to add anyone's name to our prayer list for tonight?
Carol Allen Story and Joan Wagner.
Thank you.
Lester Bergman,
Thank you.
Paula,
Thank you.
Alvin Barshmul, Emmett Ruvain, and Corinne DiGirolamo.
Thank you. And we're adding also Richard Terzili. Mishabotenu mekor habracha laimahotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu, mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Praying for a refuah shalema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those that we're holding in our hearts this evening. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here for a few moments so I can share a few words of Torah with you. Okay, so in our parsha for this week, Adonai instructs Moses to climb up to the top of a mountain called Avarim, and to look out and get a view of the land that God has promised to give to the Israelites. And the reason for this, as God makes clear in this passage, is that Moses is not going to get a chance to go and visit the land himself. He can look out and see the land from the top of the mountain, but he's not going to get a chance to go and be there himself. And in thinking about this moment, it's easy for us to focus on the sad irony, the injustice, we might be tempted to say, of Moses being denied the chance to enter the promised land that lies at the end of this long journey on which he's been leading this people for so many years. And there are times when Moses himself seems to feel this loss greatly, and when he even argues with God, he pleads with God and laments what God has decreed for him. But in this moment, Moses is focusing on something else, something beyond himself. His concern that after he's gone, there must be someone to take up the mantle of leadership and take care of the people in his absence. He says, "Let Adonai, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community who shall go out before them and come in before them, who shall take them out and bring them in, so that Adonai's community may not be like a sheep that have no shepherd." The future that Moses is working for, that he's been working for really his whole life, is still important to him, even if he doesn't get to see it personally. And I think that in a way, this is connected somewhat with the image of him climbing up to the top of that mountain and getting to see that land that he doesn't get to go to, right? Because there's a gift, as much as we can tend to focus on what's being withheld from Moses, there's a gift that he is receiving. And the gift is the chance to get a peek at where he doesn't get to go. Because every one of us on the journey of our lives, right, will only get to go as far as we get to go before that journey comes to an end. That's true for all of us, no matter how far we go or how little ground we walk. We're all going to only get to go to the end of our journey, whatever that end has been decreed for us. But what Moses is getting here is a little bit of a peek into what comes afterward, into the next steps along that journey that extend beyond him, beyond his life, but that he's still invested in, that he still cares about, because he cares about these people, he cares about this project in a way that transcends the boundaries of his own personal, limited lifespan. There's a saying, possibly apocryphal, attributed to King Louis XV of France. In response to worsening conditions in France and the shadows of revolution on the horizon, he is said to have kind of signaled his indifference to whatever came after him with the phrase, après moi le déluge, after me, the flood. And whatever the historical accuracy of this statement, it encapsulates something real about a certain kind of nihilistic attitude of the kind of person whose concern extends only to their own lifetime and what they personally are going to experience, who really can't be bothered to care what comes after them because they're not going to get to be there to experience it. In contradiction to this attitude, the Torah urges us to follow Moses' example in morally orienting ourselves toward a world that extends beyond ourselves. It's this orientation that's expressed in our tradition with the phrase Olam Haba, the world to come. People sometimes talk about Olam Haba in the sense of heaven or life after death. And indeed, that's part of the meaning. But in a bigger sense, the world to come refers to our moral orientation toward transcendence, toward what extends beyond the boundary of the self, beyond the day of our own death, beyond the limited circle of the me, out into the mysterious world of the other than me, and outside of me and beyond me. And it's that orientation that ultimately gives meaning to an existence in what would otherwise seem to be a meaningless world. There's a story in Tractate Ta'anit that relates how one day the sage Choni was walking down the road when he saw an old man planting a carob tree. "How long will it be until that tree bears fruit?" Choni asked the man. "Not for 70 years, the man replied. "And do you expect to live another 70 years, old-timer?" said Choni. The man said, "When this man came into the world, he found it full of carob trees. Now, just as my ancestors planted for me, so too am I planting for my descendants." Now, the coda of this story is that Choni sat down to eat some bread, and presently he got drowsy and he fell asleep. And it says a cliff grew over him, and he slept beneath the ground for 70 years. And when he woke up, he saw a man gathering carobs from that tree. "Are you the one who planted that tree?" Choni asked. "Indeed, no," said the man. "I am that man's grandson." Choni, like Moses, standing at the top of Avarim, gets to see a glimpse of something that few of us are able to see. A peek into the world to come. The world that we are all working for, which grounds us in this life and connects us to the lives of those who will come after us, We may not be able to see that world, but we can feel it coming. And that feeling is ultimately what keeps us moving forward, even when it would be easier to give up and stay where we are. And so the questions I brought for us to reflect on tonight, and feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to respond, are these. What is it that keeps you moving forward? And what is your vision of the world to come? The world that you hope the people after us will live to see? Those are the questions for tonight.
I just noticed something though about what Moses does and doesn't do. Okay, Moses is looking for someone to take his place afterwards. But what Moses doesn't do is tell God who it should be, nor does he later tell Joshua exactly how Joshua should do things, recognizing that there's going to be change and that we should prepare for whatever is coming next the best we can, is to find the people who we think will be able to do it and leave it in their hands, because we won't be there, do it. But that faith that we had in them might be what helps keep them going to be able to handle things in the future.
That's true. Moses displays a remarkable degree of restraint, right, in not trying to exert control over exactly what that future he's handing forward is going to be. And that's really remarkable. I think Suzanne's.
I think what keeps many of us going forward, probably, and me, is family, children, grandchildren, the future. In a point of irony, my father's father died 3-4 months before my parents were married, but he knew they were getting married. It was a sudden death, but he knew they were getting married. He was looking forward to seeing his oldest son get married and, move forward. My husband died 3-4 months before my oldest son got married. And I know he was thrilled that they were getting married. And he was looking forward to that, although because of his illness, he did not expect to live much longer. But that idea of looking forward to the next generation, L'Adour Vadour, and that's very important. And I think Moses, looking into the future, could see or have a feeling for what the next generations would be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I think one of the things that keeps me going is somewhat along similar lines, but really the idea of human potential that is in all of us, specifically thinking about like myself and those closest to me, my loved ones and other people in communities that I identify with, having an easier life. And I've been told by my kids that maybe I put a little bit too much pressure on the younger generation, that like we need their help in a big way to help solve some major environmental issues. But, that confidence in them nonetheless, that they can and are going to kind of need to solve this or be, really instrumental in coming up with unique ways. So I think it's that hope and that belief in that potential that keep me going.
Thank you. Maureen.
I think anybody who teaches constantly looks at those children and sees our future. And that's sort of what keeps you going. You see that they have this wonderful way of looking at the world. And no matter how bad you think things are, and believe me, I think things are really bad a lot of the time right now. but you go in a classroom full of kids who see nothing about excitement and joy and what they want to do in the future. And it keeps you kind of grounded and makes you realize that this is the future, not my future, it's their future. And that's my job, to help them look forward and build the future that they want.
Thank you. Anybody else want to comment? All right, I think let's wrap it up there. May we all be able to sustain our connection to that world that's coming, to keep our faith in the future that we may never necessarily be able to see, but which we can feel nevertheless in our actions for the good in this world. Going to share the screen here once again. There we go. And I'm going to invite you to rise with me again as we turn to page 587 for Aleinu. Does someone want to volunteer if they'd like to come up and open the ark for us? You want? Okay. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liatzer bereshit, shahu sam chelkeinu liyached et shemo, v'gor aleinu l'hamlik malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And let's have a seat. Page 591. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. This week, we are mourning the death of Stanley Pelter, and we are remembering the yahrzeits of Larry Esserman, Ida Topping, Melvin Banditson, Anna Grover, Neil Birnbaum, Max Friedman, and Bonnie Lorraine Marks. Please rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. May their memories be for a blessing. Please feel free to have a seat. Not going to make a huge number of announcements tonight, but I am going to make a couple. All of our usual stuff continues to happen at its usual time. Torah study and services tomorrow morning. And Wednesday night class, beginning with prayers at 5:30, and then the adult ed class itself at 6 p.m. We are going to have another board game night coming up the last Saturday of the month, the last Saturday of July. If you're interested in coming, and it's super fun to do, then consider giving the office a call ahead of time so we can give a general sense for who's coming. We do order pizza and salad for those. So it's helpful to know how much to order. And also, if you are planning on coming and you want to eat, it's really helpful to bring $5 to kick in for your pizza. The high holidays are not exactly right around the corner, but we are definitely kind of moving in that general direction. And with that in mind, I would like to extend my personal invitation for anyone who would be interested in learning how, if you're maybe not exactly up to snuff on this, learning how to read Torah for the high holidays. I would love to get more folks involved in reading for us during the holidays. And I understand that not everybody necessarily knows how to read Torah, but I'm happy to meet with people and teach them. So if this is something think you might be at all interested in, or you feel like being a little bit brave, reach out to me. I'm always, like, all ears, would love to work with anybody who'd like to learn. It's really a lot less hard than it sounds. Also, generally related to the high holidays, I'm going to put out my plug, and I'm going to continue putting this plug out until we actually find someone to do this. We are in need of someone to take over the project known as the Book of Remembrance. This is a book that we print out every year that has the text of our memorial service in it, along with the names of members of the congregation, like the family members and friends, people who are being mourned by members of the congregation. It's a source of some amount of donations to the temple. It's really useful to have for the Yizkor services that we do during the high holidays and throughout the year. And Jean Hecht, who has been doing this for more than 2 decades at this point, would very much like to step down from that position and would very much like someone to be volunteer to replace her. So this is a good volunteering opportunity. It's fairly limited in terms of time every year. It's mainly a summer project. And we'd love to have a volunteer to step forward and be willing to take that on, at least for a few years, but like preferably someone willing to take it on for a while. So if you're looking for a good volunteering opportunity here at Temple Concord, that's something we really would love to have someone to volunteer for, and you can be in touch with me about that to put up a hand. Right. We're going to finish up on page 625 with the Don Olam, and then we'll make motzi and head on over into the social hall. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshir lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit v'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzur chavli be'yetzara Vehu nisi umanos li minat kosi beyom ekra beyado afkid ruhi meyeti shan veyayira veim ruhi giviati Adonai li velo ira. Folks. Here we go. Hamotzi lachem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, and thanks you everyone here for being with us tonight.
Hmm.